Hello.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for joining
Yeah,
me.
yeah, no worries. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. How about you?
Okay,
You
yeah.
can hear me clearly?
Yeah, loud and clear. Yes, I can.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for joining me here. You
it's my
will on
pleasure.
time. Yeah. All right. So,
Pleasure, yeah.
yeah, thank you so much for responding to our invitation. I
No
appreciate. I'm
worries.
very humbled. Yeah, because you were there, very quick response and everything. I appreciate that. Okay, so
You're welcome.
yeah, so welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about jobs in Canada. Yes, generally in this YouTube channel, we do share worldwide opportunities, right? So if you are seeing me on the first time, my name is Delphine. I'm a roadway design engineer here in United States. Yes, I started this YouTube channel to encourage young generation back home in Africa. Um, to keep searching for the opportunities because I'm very sure that sometimes it gets harder to get some opportunities and information, right? So, yes, before I give my guests today, um, uh, I give you the before you introduce yourself. So let me give a little bit heads up about what we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about jobs in Canada, as I said. His name is Adedomora. He will be introducing himself in details in a minute, but also he's from Nigeria, from what I know, and also he's experienced in these things of jobs. Yes, he has a YouTube channel. Please go ahead and introduce yourself. You also have to tell us where to find you because today
Okay.
we have you here. If you could go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your channel and everything that we can know, and then I will be back to give you to give the details about what the timeline of today. Yes, welcome.
All right. Thank you for having me, Delphine. It's my pleasure to be here with you
Mm,
guys. Adedamola Otun, and I run IFRS page. Yeah.
mhm,
So if you look at the name here, you see that it's saying IFRS. Yeah. So originally the page is basically the channel rather is basically meant to uh, help accounting guys in understanding financial reporting. Yeah,
mm,
but recently when I located to Canada from Nigeria about 5 months ago, I I thought to share my knowledge as regards how I was able to get a work permit in Nigeria to come
mhm,
to Canada. Yeah, so that's pretty much the essence of the part where I talk about. So I created a playlist for it where I talk about careers and relocation on my channel. Yeah, so basically, currently here in Canada, I'm a financial reporting consultant. I
mhm.
work with one of the big four audit firms here, and yeah, so that's pretty much about it.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Yeah, we are glad we have you here. And today's topic, I have like things timeline of today. I have a list of the things that we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about initiatives. As I said, it's all about jobs in outside of your abroad, job abroad. And then we'll be talking about initiatives, preparation, action, feedback, visa process, travel, and life in Canada. We also ask our guests to give us advice and encouragement to young generation out there in Africa. So uh, let me go ahead and start by in on the first. Let me go ahead and start. I have okay. So, yeah, I have prepared some questions. I have questions here, starting about initiatives. So, I would like to know what what drives you to know to get this kind of thinking that okay, I'm going to search a job in Canada. Did you have like friends who tried it? Did you he- heard it from maybe YouTube or somewhere else? Where did you get that initiative?
Okay, yeah, thank you. When I was in Nigeria, I was working as a consultant in an accounting firm. I noticed that some of my colleagues They started relocating from Nigeria to UK. Many of them went to United Kingdom, some went to Ireland, yeah, and some of them went to the US and some to Canada. Yeah, so basically that was the major thing that drove me in applying. So I just thought to also try it out, and so I started searching for uh, jobs outside Nigeria, and then I started going to the career page of those websites to apply. And I was able to get after so many applications, I was able to now eventually get where I was working on about 6 to 7 months after the applications.
Oh wow, that is very interesting because for me, I don't know if I introduced myself. I'm a roadway designer here in United States, and I'm from Africa, a country called Rwanda. In my country, is very rare to find those people who are relocating. There are very few of them. So for you, you are here to give us like testimony that it is very possible and your friends has tried it either in Europe, either in the UK, United States, even you are the one you tried Canada and it was possible. Okay, so my next question is okay, so did you had a job in your country before?
Yes, yes. I was working as an accountant, as a consulting guy in an accounting firm in Nigeria.
So it means you wasn't desperate about finding a job or anything. So you are just there to try your chance.
Yeah, definitely.
All
Yes.
right. So let's go ahead and talk about preparation. So after getting that motivation, you decided to say, okay, I'm going to try this one. And I want to know what are the things you set aside in your journal of searching a job.
Okay, yeah. So in searching a job, I think one of the first things that I did was to actually identify the kind of company that I want to work with
Mhm.
outside the country. Yeah, and the second thing was to identify the countries that I would like to actually go and relocate to work in. Yeah, so after doing that, then I had to draft or update my CV in order to meet many of the job requirements for those companies, and also I had to also reframe my cover letter as well, and then also my LinkedIn profile as well, and then I also started reaching out to LinkedIn. Uh, hiring recruiters on LinkedIn that actually hire for companies outside my country. Yeah, so those are the major steps that I took uh, before I eventually start getting invites for interviews.
Oh wow! So you look like you were very prepared. You were very prepared.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. And was your friends giving you a hint about the things you can um, get aside and prepare yourself in your journal? Because you said your friends were trying and well, maybe in UK and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I was also relating with some of them. Since they've gone through the process, they were able to tell me, okay, these are the things that they did. These are the kind of questions that they were asked at the interviews and so on.
Mhm.
So I was able to leverage on that their experience in order to actually get mine as well.
Okay, so in your preparation, you didn't talk about any kind of IELTS. You didn't talk about maybe police reports because I I made a video here on
Yeah,
YouTube channel
yeah,
and I was telling my audience that okay,
yeah,
if you want to get a job in Canada, you can prepare yourself, take IELTS if you need it,
yeah,
take your police report aside, and also do your evaluation, transcript
yeah,
evaluation.
yeah.
So can you talk about that a little bit? Was
Okay.
it in consideration about your searching?
Okay, yeah. Let me start with the transcript. Yeah, so about the university transcript, that's very correct. Now, the reason why I probably did not mention that is because I already got my own transcripts years back. Yeah, from my school. So I already requested for it. So I had my transcript in hand. Yeah, then with respect to IELTS, I didn't have to write IELTS. Yeah, because of the fact that I got a work permit. Yeah, so I believe that getting a work permit, you are able to they don't request that you should write an IELTS. Yeah, because of the work permit. Yeah, so in my own case, I didn't have to write IELTS. Then for police certificate, I don't know, probably varies in countries. Yeah, so in Nigeria, the kind of police certificate that we get, it expires within 3 months. Yeah, so I only requested for the police certificate when the immigration consultant that my company attached to me, assigned to me rather, when they requested for it. Yeah, because it does expire every 3 months. So even if I had done it before, it could expire before they made use of it. So that's why I didn't have to get that on hand.
So now I understand that it's very possible to start your application, job application, by having only your transcript from university. Did you do international evaluation like WES transcript?
No, I did not. So basically, what I did is that I think the way it works, or it worked for me, was that the company that I eventually got the job with, they hired the consultant to do a background check. Yeah.
Mhm.
So what the consultant requested that I should provide is the police certificate, my transcript. Yeah. So I guess when they got the transcript, that served as the evaluation, the education evaluation that they needed. So that's pretty much what I did as regards that. I didn't have to do the words and all of that education
Mhm.
evaluations. Yeah.
Okay, I think it's pretty much simple. So you were there on your computer starting application. Nothing was much complicated because sometimes people
Yeah.
think that, including myself, I thought that if you want a journal of a job in Canada or somewhere else, you have to have your IELTS in hand, you have to have your transcript international evaluated. So
Okay.
I thought that way, but it's very interesting, and this gives us encouragement, and people might be aware that they can go ahead and open their laptop and
Yeah.
start application. So now
Yeah.
let's move on how what are the websites. Okay, so I shared a video, and I was referred to one job bank
Okay.
in the website of government of Canada job bank.
Okay.
That's what I know. But
Okay.
also, if you have experience of that, the website you used in your
Okay.
job application, please go ahead and give us a little bit about
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So with respect to that, as you mentioned, I mean, it is a given that if you're applying to Canada, you should actually try out the Canada Job Bank, which
that.
the government of Canada actually aggregates a number of jobs. Yeah. Then I think another site that I went to is, I think one of the major thing I did was, I mentioned earlier that I highlighted all the companies that I wanted to work with, or that I wanted to apply to, and I started applying to them. So what I did is basically to just go online, search for their websites, and on each of their websites, they always have a section called careers. So I just went to those career pages and I started applying to the jobs that they had available. So that's one of the steps that I took. The other step could be, I mean, there are quite a number of job links that you could actually apply to. There is ZipRecruiter, there is Michaels, there is Ace, there is Eluta. There are quite a number of them. And maybe I will just, you can, I mean, I made a video on my YouTube page where I talked about some of those links. So probably I could drop them after this call and share with you
Yeah, yeah,
as well. So that,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so that people will go and check those websites which
yeah,
you are trying, and one of them gives
yeah,
you opportunity. And
yeah.
you mentioned about accessing the website of the company, but I want to know how did you know those companies?
Okay, yeah. So because I was working in consulting, accounting, so I already knew, I mean, some of the companies that are competitors to uh, the kind of company I'm looking for. So, for example, let's say, okay, just a scenario now. So, let's say you are looking to apply to Coca Cola. You
Mhm.
know that there are companies that are competitors to Coca-Cola as well, such like Pepsi and some
Mhm.
other carbonated drink. So I think majorly what you just do is you just highlight them and then go on Google and start searching for them one after the other. Yeah, so that's another way. Another way you can get that is probably you can just go to Google and type in, say for example, you are looking for a customer service role. You can just type in customer service jobs in Canada. There you see a list of companies that offers that, and they can start applying as well. So I mean, Google is a very good search engine that generates all those kind of websites. Yeah, so that's basically the steps I would advise.
Yeah, that's very understanding. So I understand that you took that path, but I also know that in Canada there is these things of verified employer. I know these key things of employer want to sponsor.
Okay.
How did you know that? Okay, this employer want to has ability to sponsor someone from Africa or somewhere else.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So I mean, on that Canada Job Bank, there is actually on Canada, the government of Canada website, there's actually a place on the website where they aggregated a list of companies
Mm-hmm.
that have the ability to employ foreigners. Yeah, so they have a data for that, and they release it on a quarterly basis. I think I made a video on that as well, where I explained how you can actually extract that information by yourself and start applying to those companies. Maybe I'll share that as well. You can remind me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
obviously. So now, if people want to know more details about that, they can visit the channel and be able to access that video where
yeah,
you talk about everything in details. Okay.
yeah,
So, and in your preparation, we are still on preparation. You
yeah.
didn't mention about maybe you said you were an accountant.
Okay,
You had any certification in your
okay,
background, let's say in Nigeria? Which
okay.
level were you? You know, how many
Okay.
years of experience you had in your
Okay,
career?
okay, okay. So for me, I'm an accountant. I'm a consulting accountant. Yeah. So basically, it is a given that you most likely will have a certification in your field and
Mhm.
in your country. Yeah, I didn't have to get certification in Canada for that purpose. So it's basically my own certification in my country, in Nigeria. Yeah. So in Nigeria, we have what we call the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. That's ICANN. Yeah. So I wrote the exams. I had the certificate, and that was what I used together with my BSc in order to apply for those jobs. I didn't have to get any other foreign certificate for that purpose.
Okay, so now, for example, me, I'm an engineer. I have my colleague back home who are an
Yeah,
engineer.
yeah,
It means that whatever certificate you have, maybe if you are proficient in your career, maybe you are proficient engineer, you
yeah,
can start application in other countries like
yeah.
UK, Canada,
That's correct.
with your documents you have in hands. Okay,
Absolutely.
that's very interesting. So now we are still on preparation. I saw
Yes.
your video detailing about CV, the things you include in CV, and
Okay.
what you said about the things you used in the preparation was CV. You
Yeah.
had to take aside the CV and everything. Can you tell us a little bit about CV? I know you details everything in your YouTube channel,
Yeah.
but also I
Yeah.
want my audience to get that a
Yeah.
little bit heads up about that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. No worries. Yeah. So basically, I think in terms of CV, I think one of the recurring theme that I always share with people is that your CV needs to be specific. Yeah, because there are situations whereby you are applying to a particular job, and then you are using a CV that is supposed. So, for example, you are looking to apply for an HR role. You're also looking to apply for a customer service role. Now, basically are supposed to actually have two CVs. One that is directed for HR, the other that is directed for customer service. Yeah, so that as you are applying to those jobs, they will be able to see the impact of that and in what you have presented. Yeah, then I think another thing that is important when it comes to CV is being concise. Yeah, because I mean, yeah, I've seen situations where people have a CV that has more than 2 pages. In
Mhm.
fact, your CV should not be more than 1 page or
Yeah.
maximum of two
Mhm.
page. So if your CV is more than 2 pages, I mean, nobody wants to read that long. In fact, many recruiters read only the first page. So if your first page is not attractive enough, they don't even bother to turn to the second page. Yeah. So and I think another thing is that after you've written your CV, you want to make sure that there are no errors whatsoever on your CV because your CV is a reflection of you. And aside that, I mean, there are some information that you don't need to include in your CV at all. So, for example, your date of birth, the grade that you graduated with, uh,
Mhm.
putting relevant experiences. You don't need that as well. I think the major thing about writing CV is to be able to sell yourself. You can put in major things that, I mean, such as putting the fact that, oh, you volunteered in a particular non-government organization. I mean,
Mhm.
those things that are sell you are the major things that you should put there. And I think that's about it.
Okay, that's very interesting, and it is very true because I can relate. As I said, I'm a roadway design engineer here in the United States. I also searched a job through that. I had to search a job in roadway design as a roadway design. Also, I wanted to search a job in traffic. All of things in about road
Yeah.
about traffic and everything. So I had two CV, one for traffic, another one for roadway. So that's why I think like it's kind of similar method. Also, I had this kind of things folder in my computer. Okay, this folder is for roadway. This folder is for traffic, and
Nice.
whatever I apply this job, I can apply with maybe with its own cover letter and everything. And CV, my CV was only one page, and
Nice.
on my CV I had to put always on the top. I had to put the LinkedIn account,
Awesome. Yeah.
because it's where I put all the details, all
Yeah.
the project I did. I'm allowed to put it there in the, in
Yeah.
my LinkedIn account. So if I want to talk about maybe details about one project I did, I already uploaded there. There is no need to say. So what I did is just key
Yeah.
point to on the CV. That's it. Only one page. So
Awesome.
similar to this United States, they have like this system of one page CV. Yeah,
Yeah. I
back
mean,
home you have to put a lot of information.
you don't need to.
Sometimes if you go with one page CV at back in Africa, people
Yeah.
will think like you are negligent, you don't know how to make
Yeah.
a CV. They might even disqualify you before you can proceed.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah, that's very interesting. So talk about cover letter a little bit about cover letter. So
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
you?
so yeah, okay. So I think for cover letter as well, the major thing is you want to, like you mentioned, you want to make sure that it's no more than one page. Yeah, and you also want to put in your, you can even put in your LinkedIn as well at the header. Yeah, you can put in your LinkedIn. You want to make sure that you are addressing. So, for example, if you don't know the name of who you are referring to or who you are writing the letter to,
Mhm,
you can say, "Dear hiring manager," as a start. Yeah, so you also want to make sure that it should not be more than 5 paragraphs. I
mhm,
mean, anything more than 5 paragraphs might become too long and too bulky. Yeah, so you just want to be straight to the point, talk about what you did, talk about what you achieved, rather, and also talk about how the value you have can be translated to the company that are trying to join. So I think basically the major thing is to just be concise, be specific, and then you're good to go.
Okay, that's very good. Thank you for sharing that with us. I also want to know if you have something, some point that you might share with us apart from the
Okay.
question that I asked you,
Okay.
because you have that experience and you know which helps you for the preparation. So please
Yeah.
go ahead and share with us anything that you think you left behind about preparation of job,
Okay.
and
Okay.
then we will move on our next point, which is action for
Okay.
application in general. Okay.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I think basically we've covered many of them. And I would like to also say that LinkedIn should not be underestimated. I mean, you should actually build your LinkedIn. We've been mentioning the fact that on your CV, you can actually put your LinkedIn profile. But when you put your LinkedIn profile and they click on it, what would they see on your LinkedIn profile? Yeah, so what they see should actually be a good reflection of what you have on your CV. So you also need to be active on LinkedIn. The more you are active on LinkedIn, the more the fact that you are able to actually share your knowledge and you also know what you are doing. Yeah, so being active on LinkedIn could also be a good projector for you while applying for jobs. So I think that's just the addition I have about.
Yeah, yeah, that is very true because myself also, when I share the job, because most of the time I share remote jobs because I want people to know that they can even do remote jobs before they get even these sponsored
Definitely.
jobs. So most of the time when I tell people, these Americans or UK, those people in Canada, in UK, in America, whatever, Australia, they don't know you, you know. So what they can believe is your LinkedIn account. So you have to make sure you upload things. And sometimes I advise people that try to find some meetings, international meetings to attend in your
yeah,
country.
yeah,
Try to make stories on LinkedIn.
yeah,
If you have enjoyed one project in your career you did maybe in last month, you can go ahead and set a story on LinkedIn. Use ChatGPT to make story for you that okay, I did these things and this
yeah,
in this past 3 months or whatever. I enjoy to do this and this. So those Americans or Canadian, when they see those stories, they will kind of believe of what you are talking about, because reading one page will not make you to will not make them to believe that you are good fit for their job. So
yeah,
try to follow your the advice. Maybe this you are an expert for this, and this is give us encouragement of keep continue on the LinkedIn, make active on make our LinkedIn active, whatever the case. I believe one day you will get a job. So
definitely.
yes, then move on the action, then action of
Okay.
applying. Yes, you have prepared all the material aside. So and you said you don't remember any kind of website you use in application, like the
Okay,
quick
so
website you can.
okay, so for example, there is ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter.
Yeah, there's ZipRecruiter. There's uh Michael Page.
Uh-huh.
There's Michael Page. If you just go on LinkedIn, sorry, if you go on Google and you search that, you will see a number of them. There's Trabajo.
Mm-hmm.
There is there are quite a number of them. I can't remember them all. Yeah, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so
yeah,
they will give visit your YouTube channel when they
okay,
need that as well. So
okay.
let's talk about, did you use agencies? Like, because I know some
Oh,
people
okay,
charge a
okay,
lot of money for
yeah,
paying agencies. Like
okay,
they fails. I know my friend
yeah,
back home,
yeah.
she paid like 3,000 USD
Wow, wow,
to agent, and she didn't get a job at all.
wow,
This is kind of
wow.
confusion because information is there on internet, and
Yeah,
people want to pay agents, or agents want to give you like, oh, give us some money, we'll find you a job. We know
yeah,
people in Canada, we know people in
yeah.
Australia. So let's talk about that in details.
Yeah, I believe that uh, you can actually search for jobs by yourself and get invited for interviews and also get a job offer by yourself. Yeah, because in my own experience, I didn't have to go through an agent in order to get a job. Many of my friends that have also traveled to either UK, Ireland, it was the same route they took as well. They applied, they searched for the jobs, and they got it. Yeah, so even all these agents, the same thing that we did is what they would have done as well. So they'll just search for it and then they'll refer you to apply. So I don't think there's anyone that could boast that they have somebody in either Canada or UK that will just, I mean, it doesn't really work that way. So the major thing is for you to put in the effort by yourself, search for those jobs. There are so many resources on YouTube, so many people sharing information that you could actually take advantage of, and you don't need anybody to collect money from you before you do that. In
Mhm.
fact, all those money you should actually be saving for your transport, for your flight and accommodation and every other thing when the job comes your
Yeah,
way.
oh yeah, absolutely. Because you pay a lot of money, you are not even
Yeah,
sure if you will get a job.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious about the process of application. How many job could you apply like in a week?
Okay, yeah, there's no specific number to that, and it also depends on your schedule. Yeah, so but I believe that if it is something that you're actually really looking for, I mean, you should just apply as many as you can. You can
Mhm.
dedicate it, even if it is just applying to two, three, or four, or five in a day. I
In
mean, it's just yeah, sure. You just search for it, and It
Like
doesn't really
4
take much.
jobs in a day. Guys, you hear me? Hear him saying 4 jobs in a day, at least, or two or three in a day,
Yeah,
not like in a month. You
no,
apply
not
a
like,
job one, and then you will say, "Oh, I didn't get the job."
no, it's not possible.
You can
I mean,
continue.
you have to put in the effort. That's the major thing because you're not the only one applying. There are so many other people that are also applying as well. So you have to
Mm,
just keep applying. And there are times even when it favors the early bird, such that the person that applies the most recent when the job is being uploaded might actually get invited for an interview. So you just want to keep applying, and then most likely one of it will come true for you. That's pretty
yeah.
much it.
Yeah. So because I normally share jobs almost every day, and people
Nice.
might think, okay, the thing I you share the job. Maybe I found you 3 months is 3 months ago, and I didn't get a job. So
Yeah.
you know what? So can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, if you apply a job and they don't get back to you,
Yeah.
what were you thinking in your heart? Like, give up or keep continue? What?
Yeah, so I believe that if you want something so bad, you will put in the necessary effort in order to get it. Yeah, so I mean there are times when you actually apply and then you don't get a feedback from them. You shouldn't give up because most likely they might have actually contacted somebody else that applied as well. And I'm sure that that person also would have been applying before they eventually got that. So the major thing is for you to just keep the hope alive, keep applying, make sure that your CV meets the necessary job description, and then most likely you eventually get it. But the major thing is to not give up.
Wow, yeah, that is it. That is the key point of everything, because many people have tried everything, maybe in your things, and then many people we see they have testimony of success stories
Yeah,
after
yeah,
trying and failed. So
yeah,
same similar to jobs as well.
yeah.
You can keep applying, whatever the case. Set aside your schedule, like free time. Put your computer over there. You have already prepared your CV. You have already prepared your cover letter. What you're gonna do is go to the internet, just change the company name on your cover letter. That's it, and send your cover letter and CV. That's it. That's why I was curious to know how many jobs, but it's very, very popular, very, very possible to apply to kind of maybe 4 jobs in a day.
Yeah,
Not like if you really want something very, very hard, very, very bad, as you said, you can work on it. Work on it. If you were spending time, let's say, on Instagram or elsewhere, TikTok or elsewhere, you can set aside like my 30 minutes in a day. I can apply to 3 jobs in a day.
sure,
That's why you can follow this YouTube channel because, for example, here I share the jobs almost every day. If I post a job, you have to share to apply to it, and don't apply to the jobs or any type of jobs you see on your screen. It might not be for you. You have to
sure.
measure like, is it for you or not? Is it in your career or not? So Adedamora, I would like you to give us experience a little bit about how were you scale the jobs that you want to apply. So, because many people might even apply to the job they are not even qualified to.
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that you want to make sure that your CV is specific. And by
Mhm,
that, it means that if you are applying to a job you don't have experience in, there's a high chance that you've wasted your time and you've also wasted the time of your recruiter. Yeah, because they will have to push your CV aside. Yeah, so the major thing is just search for, because I think that's the major reason why some people actually complain and say, I've applied to so many jobs and I'm not getting, because they're not applying to the job that fits your role. Yeah,
mhm.
so or fits your experience. So you want to make sure that your CV is specific, your cover letter is specific, and you're applying to specific jobs that are in tune with your experience.
Okay, that's really good. Yeah, so I want to know, you applied in Canada, in UK, you said. Did you try Australia?
I tried UK, Ireland,
Ireland?
uh, Canada. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. In Canada, did you focus to one certain, maybe to certain provinces that you were focusing on, or you were just there to apply to whatever?
Oh, okay. I wasn't focusing on a particular province. I was just applying to companies. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on our next point on our timeline. In here we have feedback. Okay, so we have talked about feedback a little bit about how you received rejection, but also I want to know in details like how many like rejection did you get? Have you
Oh,
ever
okay.
got like kind of interview you even tried for interview but they never call you back?
Yeah, I mean, I started applying in 2021. I
Mm-hmm.
started applying middle of 2021,
Mm-hmm.
and I eventually got an offer in March of 2022.
Okay,
So,
almost
so
a
that,
year.
yeah, almost a year before I got
Mm-hmm.
the offer, and it
Mm-hmm.
also took like 8 months before
Really?
I was able to process the visa.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I want
so
to check.
I mean, I was just applying and I had some interviews that I did that there are like 3 stages of the interview. I did the first stage, I passed, second stage, I passed. The third stage, which is the final stage, they sent me a rejection letter. And it was not one, it was not two. There are quite a number of them like that. So I think the major thing we have said earlier is just the persistence and the
Yes,
tenacity to keep
yeah.
continue to keep on and keep applying and keep doing it. Because each of those failures eventually inform you and makes you better, such that by the
Mhm.
time you move on to the next one, you're able to ace it well. So that's pretty much my experience.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask you about that because
Yeah.
if you get discouraged on say because you had maybe your schedule that I will be applying to two jobs in a day, three jobs in a
Yeah.
day. If you apply, I was calculating here. If you apply four jobs
Yeah.
throughout in a day throughout the year, you can even apply more than 1,000 jobs. So
Definitely.
if you really need something, you have to hard work is everything in this kind of things because there are many recruiters, there are many companies
Yeah.
want employees.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and apply, whatever the case. If you have applied to 1,000 jobs and never get feedback, please comment below. We want to know. We want to know that experience as well.
Because that means there's a problem.
Yeah, comment below. We want to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, okay, I have a question here on my list. Um, in every interviews, how many interviews did you get? Like, how many interviews?
Okay, so it depends. I think it depends on the HR policy, depends on the company. There
Mhm.
are some that you have to do just 2 interviews. There are some you do 3 interviews. There are some that is just 1 interview. So it really depends. It's not a matter of this is a specific number of interviews.
And if you do remember, how many companies did you get
Yeah.
interview from? Even one interview?
Oh, okay. If I'm to add them up, maybe going to like 10 of them.
Wow,
Before,
you
yeah,
really
because
tried. Tell
yeah, I was really trying.
you
When
tried.
I eventually got an offer, I got 3 offers from different
Wow.
companies. Yeah.
We offer
So
which one?
yeah, I got one in UK, I got one in Canada where I'm currently working. I got
Mhm.
another one in Ireland.
Why did you choose Canada?
Yeah, because I just like the North American lifestyle and the
Mhm.
standard of living as well.
Okay, that's very good.
Yeah.
I want to know what are the factors that you think play the role in your job offer.
Yeah, I think the major thing is the
Okay.
consistency
Oh,
and being
consistent.
persistent with
Mm-hmm.
the application. Yeah, and I think I mentioned earlier that many of those failures or setback were actually informed me being better at each of the interviews I had, and also in terms of how I structured my CV, how I structured my cover letter, and how I also presented or positioned myself for them. So I think majorly the major thing is that you are persistent and you
Mm-hmm.
are strategic with your persistence, such that what you are doing, you know that it is in line with what you are looking to get. So that's pretty much it for me.
Okay, so I understand that it's persistence and give it time. Hard,
Yeah,
you have to apply. Give it time. Don't be
yeah,
inspired. disparate of what you are doing. So keep applying, and also make sure your strategy is really good in a way that you prepare CV, you prepare yourself. Experience, you can even, so I want to know, is it possible to get a job abroad with no experience?
Yeah, so it depends on the kind of job you are looking to get. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there are people that actually come here to as farm workers. There are people that come here as cleaners. There are people that come here as
Mm-hmm.
even some customer service representatives as well. So it's not all jobs that require that you should actually have an experience. If you go to Canada Job Bank, you will see a number of jobs that they will even put it there that no
No
experience required.
experience, yes.
Yeah, so the major thing is to just search for them if you don't have an experience, and then you can actually apply.
Yeah, yeah, you are very right. Because as what me too, I shared jobs here with no
Yeah,
experience, zero experience.
yeah,
Sometimes I share data entry jobs where they say this is for entry level. What you have to do is just to apply. And sometimes they need more people, like 50 people.
definitely.
Last week I shared a job where they were looking for 50 people, and
Nice.
that time only 18 p- applicants were applied. So this means if you are out there on the internet, you
Yeah,
can look out all those opportunities, even
yeah,
if you are out of college. So so this is the, I want to move on our next point, which is visa process. We all know that you are in Africa. Yes, you got a job, everything is good. What was the okay, before I go there,
okay,
there is these things I forgot in this preparation. I want to know if you have used maybe visual phone of Canadian phone number, because sometimes people says that if you use Canadian phone number on your CV,
okay,
companies uh, calls you, companies calls you really easily. So can you tell about a little bit about that? Because in your CV,
okay,
so we go to the next
okay.
point.
Yeah, so in my experience, I didn't have to do that.
Mhm.
Uh, I had my Nigerian number on my CV, and I what I did was to put the area code. So in Nigeria, our area code is +234
Mhm.
together with the number. So I
Yes, yes.
put the number there, and then job that I eventually got, I actually received a call
Mhm.
from Canada, from the HR in the
Wow.
company I was going to. Yeah, they called my phone number. It was in
Mhm.
an evening. I saw the number. I didn't even know who was calling. I picked it, and then they introduced themselves. So this is to say that you don't necessarily need to have a Canadian phone number on your CV
Number.
before they actually reach you, because the numbers they have, it's a number that could actually go globally. So I don't think you need to, as long as your CV is well detailed, it meets
Mhm.
their job requirement, they will actually call you if they need to.
Yeah, yeah, this is very true because I have a friend as well who applied to one of the scholarship here in United States, and
Yeah,
he got a job. He got the scholarship.
yeah.
That university called him from United States, and he was in Tanzania, so he received a call, and he was very, very excited about that. So I
Definitely.
can feel you how you was feeling on that.
Yeah.
You didn't think that it is scam or what? You thought it's real?
I know, no. When I saw it, because I was using an app there, I was using Truecaller. So
Hmm.
Truecaller could tell you where the location of the call is coming from. Yeah, so I just picked it, and normally for calls like that, if I pick it and I see that what you are saying sounds like a scam, I just turn it off. Yeah, so there's really no harm in picking
Okay.
the call, as long as yeah,
Yeah, because also scammers are out there.
yeah,
And
definitely.
how many interview did you do on that specific job offer you got? Talk
Okay,
about
on the
those,
one.
talk about those
Okay,
other
okay,
jobs. Yeah.
okay. I think on an average for the three of them, I did three interviews.
Okay.
Yeah,
Each company.
yeah,
Each
yeah,
company three. First
yeah.
stage, second stage,
And third
and
stage.
third.
Yeah,
Oh.
but for this one that I'm working with, I did just two. So I
Mhm.
did the first interview, and the second one was an essay that I had to write. I
Wow.
had to write that. Yeah.
Wow.
Then the third one was an interview. So those are the three stages.
What kind of essay? Was it even related
No, it was
to
related to
going to
my
school?
it was related to my so it was not an essay in the real sense. It was like a scenario, like scenario questions that I'm supposed to answer
Answer.
how it should be approached. Yeah, sort of. Yeah, so but
Okay.
it was related to my field, accounting field, so it was easy for me to uh
Mhm.
address those questions.
They gives you like a timeline of how long can you take to answer those questions?
Yeah, so they just sent it to me, do it, and they send it back to us. I think 24 hours.
Or 24 hours. They give you a timeline. And to accept job offer, they gives you like 24 hours as well.
No, no, no. I think 1 week.
1 week to think about that. And you could respond very quick.
I could respond immediately.
Immediately because it was no option. You
Immediately.
worked for almost a year about that, and then you are. Oh, but also you could give it time to think about which country you want to go to. Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah. So and ask your family as well. Okay,
Yeah.
that's very interesting. I don't know if I forget anything about that point of preparation, um, action of application. I don't know if I forgot anything, but even if I forgot anything, maybe we will have a time to answer that if either in comment or elsewhere. If even if you can answer on your YouTube channel, or we have you another time. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Let's move on visa process. You got a job, you are in Africa. What are the documents they request you? What are the next move after getting job?
Okay. Yeah. So basically, I believe once you've gotten the job, the major documents that you need to have, which is your passport, your international passport. So
Yes.
I believe you should have that
Mm-hmm.
in hand. Yeah. Then other things that you need, we've mentioned it earlier, is your transcript. So you need
Okay.
to have your transcript, your school transcript with you. If you
Yeah.
yeah. So aside the transcript as well, the police certificate. That's when they will ask you to get it. And I mentioned there that it depends on your country. So if your police certificate expires within a specific period of time, then you may also want to consider how long that takes. Yeah,
Yeah.
so then aside from that document, those are the major documents that they ask for. All other things that with respect to having to go for biometrics, your medicals, and
Mm-hmm.
the rest. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Okay. Did you prepare the like proof of fund or something?
So for work permit, no, I didn't have to prepare proof of fund.
Okay. And if you had a family in Nigeria, if you get a job in abroad, either Canada, UK, whatever, they allow you to go with your family, right?
So I think it depends on the company policy. Yeah, for
Mm-hmm.
Canada, I know, I mean, based on my experience, they actually process it for me and my dependents. Yeah, but I know for Europe, sometimes they will actually say that you need to pay for your dependents. Yeah, so it depends on the company policy and yeah,
But for yourself, but
I
for your
did.
experience,
I
you didn't get. Okay.
no, no. For me and my dependents, I didn't have to pay. They did the processing for us.
Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, what are the challenges that you face in processing your visa?
I think the major challenge is just the time gap between when you start the processing and how long it takes before you eventually get approval. Yeah, but I don't think I have any other challenge aside from that. Yeah, because everything that you need to do, the company will tell you when it is time to do it. So I think that's pretty much it.
Because some companies might need someone to join them immediately, and you are in Africa, and you had to get that a little bit pressure of finding those things, document, and get appointment for your embassy.
Yeah, so that's why I believe that I mean things that you are supposed to have, you should
Mhm.
have them before getting the job. For example, your international passport, you should have that on hand.
Mhm.
Your
Mhm.
transcripts, you should have that as well. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I think those are the two major things. Every other thing for police certificate, if your police certificate is not something that is just 3 months or so, you could also get that as well. So I think those are the major ones. I mean, the employers that are trying to employ from outside their country, they too they
Mhm.
know the time it takes before the processing becomes complete. So they most likely will understand how long it takes.
Okay, okay. So let's move on our next point, which is travel. Yeah, yeah, travel in from your country to your to Niger to from Nigeria to Canada. But also, I want to know a little bit about. I don't know if I forget. Yeah, if I remember that question, I will. I will talk about. I will ask you if I remember that question. I will ask you, but tell us a little bit about your travel. Yes, you are going to a new country. You don't know anyone. So, was it necessary to book a hotel and stuff like that? So, for example, you went to on internet, you search for that location of the company, and and everything needed for you to move on with your travel.
Yeah, I think to relocate, basically when it is close to the date that you travel, yeah, you could actually consider booking an Airbnb uh, that
Mm-hmm.
will give you a temporary accommodation, pending the time when you get your permanent accommodation. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did in my own case before I eventually got a place that I stayed here in Canada.
Yeah, exactly. Because most of the time, companies will not pay for you, will not pay for your hotel or anything unless it's a big company. So people must know these things that if you have to go to uh, anywhere, let's say if you had to go to your job or abroad, Canada, wherever, you have to get set aside a little bit. A few, you have to set you have to set aside money for your facility to facilitate you in all those. Okay, so yeah, so I want to know about life in Canada. Yeah, this is I don't know if it's gonna be our last point. Yeah, it's our last point. Life in Canada. Yes. How is life in Canada? What
Ah,
are, yeah. Mhm.
guide.
Yeah, good. So I want to know in details like your expectation because you wanted a job very hard.
Yeah,
And then you got a job. You went in Canada. You had a job in Africa.
yeah,
Sometimes it's a challenge here in
yeah,
United States, for example, where I am.
yeah,
For example, one of my colleague came to study in United States, and he was like in regret, thinking that okay, I left my job back home and I'm here. I see that these challenges, stuff like that. So so what was it on your side? How is life in Canada? Do you think it's obviously? I think it's better because we can see that you have a smile in your face. That's why you even motivated. That's why you even went on YouTube and start sharing your testimony. So
yeah,
it's obvious that was it good, but I want to know the expectation you had
yeah,
in back home and what you are facing right now.
yeah.
Does it match?
Yeah, so I mean, when it comes to expectations, it's always peculiar to the person that has it. Yeah, so for me, I mean, based on my experience, my coming to Canada has been a great one. I mean, the the expectation has been the kind of things I'm seeing. It's actually encouraging. I mean, talk about amenities, talk about standard of living. I mean, it's something that you enjoy. But when you look at it, also you might also consider in terms of the weather. Yeah, so for here the weather could be quite harsh, especially
Mhm.
during winter when it is very cold. And you might not have that kind of harsh weather in your own home country. Yeah, so I think that could also be some of the things that you look at for. And another challenge you could also think maybe in terms of your people at home when you want to communicate with them because of
Mm,
the time gap, the time difference. Yeah,
different.
for here, I mean, Canada is 8 hours behind Nigeria, so it changes between 7 hours to 8 hours. So if I want to
Mhm.
call them, I can't just pick my phone and call them at any time, because I might call them and then they're already sleeping. Yeah, so I think those are some of the challenges that so there are always pros and cons when you relocate outside your country. But the major thing is that does the benefit outweigh the cost? Yeah, so I think that's about it.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your testimony and experience. So let's conclude in this way. I would like to hear from you advice from your experience to young generation back home who are looking for opportunities. Uh, yeah, who are looking for opportunities.
Yeah, so I would say that the major thing is number one, you have to develop yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
have to invest in yourself, and invest in yourself. I mean, in terms of your skills,
Yes.
learning about things, being uh, putting yourself forward. Like we talk about your LinkedIn, you need to make
Mm-hmm.
sure you build your presence, your online presence. And I think when it comes to applying to jobs, you have to be specific and you have to be strategic with it. You have to make sure that you are not all over the place. You are applying to jobs that you actually meet the requirement. And there are times when you don't need to check all the boxes. It doesn't have to be 100% meeting of requirement, but at least say 70%, 80% meeting requirements could actually push you further. So I think the major thing is don't give up as long as you want it badly. And there are so many other people that have actually tried it and it got the offer. So most likely is an indicator that you also get it as well. So that's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much it for me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Now we understand that the strategy not be discouraged
Yeah,
and at least meet the requirement of that
yeah.
job we are planned to. Okay, so Adedamora, thank you so much for give us this time chatting with
Thank you
us
for
here.
having me.
We really appreciate. You are a very humble man that ever met, because
Thank you.
giving this time here is we don't take it as on we don't get it as guaranteed. We really appreciate. And again, talk about your channel and the things that we can find there on your channel, and anything that you can anything that you can tell us before you go. Because
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so like I mentioned at the beginning of this session that my channel is IFRS is easy, and basically it's split into two categories. So there's a part where I talk about accounting, that I talk about IFRS, financial reporting. Then there's also a part where I created a playlist called Careers and Relocation Playlist, where I talk about my experience traveling from Nigeria to Canada. I also share information about job links. I share information about how to write your CV, how
Mhm,
to
mhm,
position yourself, how
mhm.
to draft a cover letter, and how to even prepare for interviews as well, and how to answer questions during interviews. So pretty much it. You could just search on YouTube IFRS and then you see me there, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah. They have to come and see, because the video that impressed me is that you detailed very well the things that you have to put on your CV, and it was very true, because I wrote it myself that okay, everything I needed to make, because I wanted to make a video about that as well. Because always when I share video, sometimes I put CV for like template, CV template, but I wanted people to hear in details on the things they have to put in their CV. Having that template you provided in your chat at your channel on your channel is really good and is helping many people. So what they have to do is to go there and explore that opportunities, because many people give money to for the
Yeah,
CV preparation. People
definitely.
charge like $50 to create a CV, maybe on Upwork or whatever,
Yeah.
Fiverr. So if you don't want to pay that a lot of money, you can go to the channel or wherever there is a source of many source. Get yourself on internet. I believe you will I believe you will get a good experience and be confident that the CV you are presenting is enough, instead of giving someone who doesn't know you, who doesn't know what you want to prepare your CV. So Yeah, thank you so much. This is the end of
My
our
pleasure.
video today. You are welcome anytime we want to chat with us again. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Mhm. Let me end the let me
Okay.
end the session, okay?
Okay.
All right. Bye.